I'm a member of Indonesia Diaspora Netherlands, and we organize heritage webinar series with the topic of shared heritage between Indonesia and Netherlands every month, every third Wednesday. So thank you for all of you who join today. To start with, I would like to ask the head of Indonesia Diaspora Netherlands, Ibu Lani Prajaharja, to say a word and to open the webinar. Ibu Lani, please go ahead.
Hello. Oh, I cannot see myself.
But we can see you, Ibu Lani.
Wait, I cannot see myself now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, my name is Lani Prajaharja. I'm the chair of the Indonesian Diaspora Network in the Netherlands. And good afternoon for the followers of this webinar in the Netherlands, and good evening for those in Indonesia. Welcome in the 6th webinar of the Heritage Series. I feel very honored to open this webinar, and I want to thank Arsitektur-PDA to organize this. I was always very surprised how many all the subjects in this webinars, they are all very, very interesting. And it was always been a big success. And I'm convinced that this one will be interesting and inspiring too for all of us. And it will also resulting in a good collaboration between the Netherlands and Indonesia in reuse, rebuild on our heritage buildings so that we can still enjoy it. Herewith, I open this webinar and I wish you a fascinating afternoon. Thank you, Ibu Arsitektur-PDA.
Thank you, Ibu Lani. And I would like also to introduce Wiwi Ciok, my friend and colleagues from Indonesia Diaspora Netherlands. Please, Wiwi, probably you don't mind to switch on your camera a little bit so all participants can see you. And Wiwi Ciok and I organize together this webinar every month. So thank you, Wiwi, for these cooperations. And the first speaker is Nadia Purwestri, an executive director of Pusat Dokumentasi Arsitektur of the Center of Architecture Documentations based in Jakarta. Nadia, you could start your presentations, and the second presentations is after Nadia is Arya Abieta IAI, the member of the board of founders of PDA. So I think both of you each has about 20 to 25 minutes for presentations, and then we will have discussions. For those participants who want to comment or have questions, please write down in the chat. Thank you very much. Please go ahead, Nadia, with your presentations. Okay. And also all the webinars are recorded also today, and later it will be available on YouTube, and the PowerPoint presentations will be available on Google Class, which is will be given the address in the chat later by Wiwi Ciok. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Hasti. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you all. Thank you, Ibu Lani and Ibu Wiwi, for my opportunity to share the story about the White House of Weltevreden in Jakarta, the building that I really love the most. I will share the story about the heritage building of Ministry of Finance name. Now the building name is Maramis Building, refer to the first Ministry of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia. And my part of this presentation will be about the history of the building, while later Mas Arya will share about the process of restoration. Currently, this building is in the process of restoration. So this building is located in the city center of Jakarta. If we look at this map of Jakarta, the building is located in this area, the area with the red square. There are some important government building, cultural and religious building in this area, such as Presidential Palace, Supreme Court, Istiqlal Mosque, our National Mosque, and other important building in this area. This slide shows the appearance of the building before the restoration. This building is within the Ministry of Finance complex, as shown in the aerial photo below right. It is a 3-story masonry buildings. Overall building measures 170 by 30 meters with a height around 23 meters. And the main building itself measure 76 meter by 30 meters. These 2 wings measure each 30 by 30 meters. The story about this building actually cannot be separated from Daendels. I think everybody in Indonesia especially knows about Herman Willem Daendels, who was the Governor-General in Netherlands, India. Actually, Daendels was appointed as a Governor-General at January in 1807 with the extra promotion as Marshal of Holland. Before he left Batavia, he was instructed to reorganize the defense of Java to ensure power security against the British, because at the time the Dutch in the Netherlands India was in a war against the British, and also he was ordered to improve the health situation of Batavia, and also to improve the situation of slaves and free locals. He was also ordered to make recommendation for a new governmental system, which should be executed if approved by the government in the Netherlands. Daendels left for the Indies in the February 1807, but he did only arrive in Java at the 1st January of 1808. Because there are some troublesome journey during which encounters with English ship had to be prevented. And to fulfill the task assigned to him, Daendels start with the construction of the Grote Postweg, about 1,000-kilometer long road which connected Batavia with Surabaya. And now in Indonesia, we know this road is known as a Jalan Raya Pos from Anyer to Panarukan. Oops, sorry. Main reason for the project was to ensure transport possibilities for the army while it lacked means for sea transportation. And for the second task, to improve the health situation of Batavia, he repaired the waterworks, he cleaned the streets, removed the cemetery, filled the puddles, and also upgrades the hospital. To ensure circulation of the fresh air in the city of Batavia, he also demolished the artisan area, the city walls and gates, some wood surrounding the cities, many houses, the Dutch church at the town hall square, and the old castle, except for the warehouses. But all this effort didn't make Batavia become healthy. Many people prefer to live outside the town. And Daendels also found that Weltevreden, with its residential area, is suitable for the new government center. And to stimulate the development of the residential areas moving southward from the city of Batavia, he also ordered the construction of the new clubhouse or Societat Harmony in the Raceway. In line with the plan to move the government seat to a healthier site in south of city of Batavia, he proposed to construct a new building for the Governor-General. The urgent need to do so is that because the Batavia Castle had already been abandoned by the government because it becoming unfit for occupation due to the unhealthy surrounding. And also the Government-General or residence in Weltevreden was already destroyed by termites. So Daendels ordered the new governmental palace for the Governor-General in Netherlands indeed. Then Daendels considered that the area that east of the big military camp was the ideal site for the new Governor-General's residence. These two maps on this slide shows the location of the government palace in the eastern side of the square. And the square which is now known as the Lapangan Banteng. This is the inscription on the wall next to the north gate. This explained that the construction of this building was involving to Governor-General Daendels and Du Bus. The following is the chronology of the construction of this building. After Daendels' proposal received approval from the Supreme Government or Hoge Regering, Daendels then appointed Schultze, Johann Christian Schultze, to be the architect for this building, and also Johannes Jonkin to become the supervisor for the construction of the new palace under the supervision of Schultze. The construction of this building officially instructed to be implemented on 7th of March 1809. And according to Daendels' plans, the building was to consist of one main building in the middle, which has to become the Governor-General official residence to replace the old residence. And this also will have two wings would flank the main building. It's functioning as a government offices and premises for the government guests. At the back, there will be a huge stable was to be constructed that could house 120 horses and their carriages. The construction stopped in 1811 when Daendels had to leave Indonesia. His successor, Governor-General Jan Willem Jansen, didn't wish to continue the construction and only ordered to put a temporary roof over the unfinished building to protect them from the rain. Because for Janssens, completing this building was not priority given that an attack on Batavia from British forces was imminent. So during the English periods, 1811 until 1816, Lieutenant Governor Thomas Stamford Raffles also didn't want to complete this building, and he preferred to live in Rijswijk. So after being neglected for about 18 years, at the end of 1826, during the office of Commissioner General Du Bus de Ghisignies, construction was resumed. Du Bus assigned the inspector of public works named Trom to finish the construction of that building. And he also decided that this building will not be used for the Governor-General, but to house some government offices. So the building was officially completed in 1828, and the Raad van Indi held its first meeting in this building on the January 1828. Because at the time government had financial problems to fund this construction, Daendels decided to sell of land, gardens, and market in Weltevreden by auction. And also he ordered demolition of several buildings in Batavia. The bricks were used for the construction of this palace. So Daendels' plan for the building consists of the main building, measure 242 feet by 84 feet, and at both sides of the building, a gate measuring 26 feet wide was to be erected, connecting to the main building with the wings, each measure 80 feet by 84 feet wide. And at the back of the wings, the two-story building was to be constructed to accommodate government offices, accommodation facilities for government guests, service areas, tables, etc. And these are some of the drawings for that building. The section of the section drawing of the building and also the facade drawings. After the design drawing had to be approved, several contracts were assigned by the contractors and supplier for the provision of building materials. There are two contracts with the contractors. First is with the Chinese contractor Lim Fat Sin for construction of foundation piles, the foundation floor, and 4 types of foundation which should be finished in 6 months. And on the right side, there are drawings of the 4 types of foundation that should be finished in 6 months by Lim Fat Sin. And then on June 1809, another contract with Chungse, Chinese mason and carpenter for foundation works. There are some contracts for the brick suppliers to provide and deliver bricks. Some of the bricks came from the demolition of the some buildings in the city of Batavia. The Governor-General Du Bus then ordered Trump to finish the construction of this building. The Trump plans was first to finish the main building and provide a reception hall and meeting room for the Supreme Government. Since the government was facing financial problems, it was decided to first complete the exterior walls and roof as well as the gate. The construction started at 19 January 1827, and then on March in the same years, a committee was established, chaired by the resident of Batavia, to supervise the completion of this building. The report in June 1827 describes the progress of the construction, that the roof of the main building is complete. The halls and corridors of the second floor are finished. Almost all the ceilings and on the first floor are finished. The completion of the large spaces in front and back of the first floor. One staircase from the first floor to the second floor is complete, and a window that resembles a door is placed between the columns of the first floor. And then on August 1827, the completion of wood painting on the second floor of the main building. The one-story corridor south side of the main building is also complete. The ceiling on the north side of the main building is almost complete. The wing buildings have all been completed. The roof truss has been installed. The tiles are currently being installed, and the windows made elsewhere will be installed soon. This building was officially in use at the beginning of 1828 with the decree of the December 28, 1827 that appointed the government offices that were to move into the building between January the 1st and January 15, 1828. And from January 1828 onward, the government offices that occupied the building were as follows. The main building, the first floor is governmental administration or Algemene Secretary. The second floor is the Directorate General of Finance, Directorate General of Government Resources and Territories, Directorate of Governmental Product and Public Warehouses, General Bookkeeping Office, the Office of the Admiralty, Commander of the Marine. And then in the ground floor is office for the Chief Guard and Military Provost and the Directorate of Finance. And then there are some other government institution that should be use the South Wing and the North Wing. So these are the sketches that shows the atmosphere of the Waterloo Plain, which is at that time is the main venue for the social gathering in Batavia. For several decades, from around 1820s, this square was extremely well known in Batavia and became the favorite site for the people to take their walks and listen to the military orchestra on Sunday afternoon. In 1828, a monument to commemorate the defeat of Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo was erected in the center of this square. After that, the name of this square became Waterloo Plain or Waterloo Square, which remained in use until after Indonesian independence in 1845. This aerial photos shows that the Waterloo Plain with the government office building. In the center of the square is Waterloo Battle Monument. You can see that there are two new buildings on the north side and the south side of the building. The building on the north was Supreme Court or Hochrechtshof, and the building on the south was Military Societat Concordia. The Hochrechtshof building was constructed in 1848 and the Military Societat Concordia in 1836. At present, the former Hochrechtshof building is still exists, while the Societat Concordia was demolished and new building was constructed in its location in the 70s. In less than 30 years, the building already saw some deterioration, forcing the government to conduct repair works. There were several repair works, including in 1855, repair works on the outer parts of the whole building and on the entire second floor. And also the next year, repair works on the inner rooms and the ground and first floor. And in 1857, the repair works of the wings such as the General Audit Office and Government Printing Office, including 2 times replacing the flooring and foundation. And also in this year, there was construction of a connecting bridge between the main building and the south wings. In 1876, bronze statue of Jan Pieterszoon Koen, or the founder of Batavia, was erected in front of the palace. But the statue was torn down in the 1943 during the Japanese occupation. After Indonesian independence in 1950, the building was handed over by Departemen van Financiën to the Ministry of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia. And this building is designated as a monument by the government decree number 475, the year of 1993. At the time, besides occupied by Indonesia Ministry of Finance, the building also accommodated the following offices such as Indonesia Parliament or DPR, Supreme Court that now become Mahkamah Agung, BPK, Central Jakarta Public Prosecutor or Kejaksaan Negeri Jakarta Pusat, and some other government institution. At the end of the 60s, the Military Societat Concordia building, which has been used by the parliament, was demolished to be replaced by a more modern building. Furthermore, several buildings were erected within this complex, and this slide shows the construction of the new building, replacing the building of Military Societat Concordia, and also the other high-rise building that now exists in this complex. And this is the building in 2005. I'm sorry, I don't have the new photos of this building. Maybe Mas Arya will show you the situation of the building during the restoration. The Ministry of Finance initiated the restoration of this building for the first time in the year of 2000, almost 200 years after this building was built. In 2004 until 2005, my institution, Pusat Dokumentasi Arsitektur, with the support from the Dutch government, conducted documentation and research. This work resulted in a conservation document containing description of existing building condition, list of artifacts and building elements that are still original, list of building damages, recommendation restoration work to be done, and also recommendation for further structure investigation. In December 2011 until February 2012, once again, with the support of the Dutch government, PDA conducted a review of the documents that had been produced in 2005 by conducting resurveys and updating documents. Simultaneously, the Ministry of Finance conducted research on building reliability in collaboration with the Center for Settlement Research, Ministry of Public Works. And as a preparation for the restoration of this building in 2013, the stripping of additional and new part of the building was carried out. Because after being used for a long time, this building has added a lot of room dividers, additional ceilings, floor covering, and wall covering panels. And apart from that, the reinforcement was also carried out on the walls of the south wings of the building, which were cracked so that the front wall became slanted. So these are some photos that shows during the process of dismantling of additional and new elements, and also the temporary reinforcement of the wall on the south wings. This the story about the journey of this building since it was first built until it was prepared for the restoration. The story about restoration of this building will presented by Mas Arya. Please, Mas Arya.
Thank you very much, Nadia. And then we are now listening to the second presentations by Arya Abieta IAI, the member of the board of the founder of PDA. Please, Mas Arya. And before Mas Arya start, I would like to welcome all participants and also thank you, the representatives of the Indonesian Embassy in The Hague. And also Ibu Puji, thank you very much for joining us, but also for the Netherlands Embassy in Jakarta. Ibu Saula Supit, thank you for joining. And of course, all of participants, thank you very much for joining. Please, Mas Arya, go ahead with your presentations.
Thank you, Mahasti. Ibu Wiwi will help me to, okay. It's still half of the screen, Wiwi. Anyway, thank you very much, Ibu Hasti, and all the friends from this diaspora Netherlands that giving us, me and Nadia, time to present our experience doing the conservation of the Gedung Maramis. I would say today's name is Gedung Maramis. And good evening, all the friends in Indonesia, and of course, good afternoon, all the friends in Netherlands. Let me start the presentation, and thank you, Bu Nadia, already give us a very brief about the history of the buildings. Now this building is named Gedung Maramis. Maramis is actually the second finance minister, Indonesian finance minister, that his name is now given to these buildings. Okay, second slide. Okay, first of all, before we do conservation, after we have the information from PDA about the history, we're doing documentation. This documentation is actually to draw the buildings again. The second slide, please. Is actually drawing the buildings from the anything that we find on site when we go to the buildings. This is some information that we got from PDA actually, that find from Andri and KITLV about the floor plans and about the elevation. From these old pictures and buildings, we're trying to understand about the building itself. This documentation started with documentation by pictures. So this is the condition when the building first time we go inside. So after this building is not used by the Minister of Finance because they moved to another new buildings, and then this building is kept left empty for several years. And we go inside and we found this kind of situation in interior. Next slide, please. This is the exteriors while we go the first time to the buildings. This building consists of the three buildings. B is actually the building between the A and B, and C is actually the building between B and E. So actually it's 5 buildings with the 2. Okay, I will give you. Ibu Hasti, can I use my note to do some words or pointing in this pictures?
Yes, please.
Okay, but I can't find a note. But okay, maybe I'm trying my best to explain about this building. So this is the exteriors condition when we go first time to the buildings. Next, next, please. And this is the floor plan. This floor. Before this, before the previous slide, please.
Oh, previous slide. Okay.
Yeah. The floor plan. Before the elevation is a floor plan.
Oh wait. Sorry.
Okay, maybe I can share my own. If it is difficult for you, Ibu Wiwi, I'm trying to share my own.
Okay.
Oh, I still can't because who's still disabled.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll make you co-host.
Yeah.
Can you please try again, Arya?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, please, so many. Excuse me. Yes. Okay. See my screen already?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
Now we go to.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the interior and this is the exterior and this is the plan. As always, what the PDA are doing before we do the conservation, what we did is redraw all the buildings just like it is the condition that we found on site. So you see inside is still so many small walls inside. There's all the walls construct while this building is utilized by the Ministry of Finance. And then next slide. And this is the elevation. You see this elevation is really the condition while we find the buildings. You see the windows, there's a lot of different windows. So most of the windows is already changed, not the originals, but some in the C buildings, in the front elevation is still the original buildings. This is a section. So we say the building is A, B, C, D, E, because this section is going from behind to the front. That's why A, B, C is reversed. And we study as well the foundation, because by understanding the foundation, we can study about the structure of the buildings. Maybe Nadia already explained about this. We dig and we're doing a study of the foundation, what happened with the foundation of the buildings. Now we go to the conservation works after we have all the documentation. First of all, like the others conservation works, we decide which one is the part of the compound is the most critical part that we have to have keep as original as possible. And then the important and fair. Important is, yeah, we can modify a little bit, and fair is actually not really help to the critical one. As well as the buildings, we study and we decided that the whole perimeter wall is the most important part of the buildings. And then the inside, the interiors, as you see, this green is fair. So fair means we can doing a lot of things while the building is not really important, because the most important is the red side, and the second important is the yellow. We decided to make some of the yellow part become green, because as we know, everybody, because this building is built 200 years ago, they still with all the condition like 200 years ago, and now we have a lot of things that we have to comply, surface area, toilets, and everything. So that's why with a very hard discussion, we decided some of the buildings becoming a fair area, means we can do something in the building, of course, with a very hati-hati, with a very careful works. This is the elevation. Elevation as well. We all make it red, and this part is actually the additional part. The bridge, the connection buildings is the additional part, or not the original. While this building first time constructed, we decided as a fair area. And then we study as well the element of the buildings. We're trying to understand which one is the original and which one is the new. And from these drawings, from these two pictures, the above pictures is the old pictures we have, and the below picture is the pictures, today's pictures. Roof is actually almost the same. We already go inside. All the structure in the roof is still original, but the tiles is changing. They changed the tiles. Previously, the tiles is very simple tiles, clear tiles. They already changed with the kind like concrete tiles, which is very heavy. And then the etablatur is still like the originals. Number 2, the mid etablatur is still the originals, and we saw the pilaster number 3 is still on the originals condition with some small problems. All the windows in these buildings, fortunately, is still good condition, still intact with a good condition. But of course, because this building already 200 years, even there is still looks like original. But myself, as a conservation architects, really not believe that this is the original. But at least this is the oldest windows that we can found, because like I said here, in the building A, and this is the building C. Behind this building is all is changed by, we call it NACO. NACO is windows, movable windows, kind of like that. And then doors. It looks like original, but I don't think it's original, because what I saw here in the number 5, the doors is real leaf doors. But here, if you see the details, inside the doors, it is like a window. So I think this already changing after several years. And the base here, the originals is carving, looks like a stone in the European buildings, but here already changed to marble. So this is all our study about this. Yeah, this is the door that I'm talking about. See, the original doors, they have windows in the doors. So I think this is the uniqueness, and in this conservation works, we're trying to make it back to the original with all these pictures and drawings. And fortunately, in one of the church close by these buildings, Gereja Emmanuel, Nadia, remember Gereja Emmanuel? What's the old name of Gereja Emmanuel? They have a similar detail of the doors. Okay, this is the window. Window is very high, very big, because it's how the Dutch are trying to understand the tropical countries. They make the building high, and the doors consists of 4 leaves. 2 leaves in the outside is louvers leaves, and then behind it's a glass door. So people inside can control if they want to have a wind, and then they can open the glass doors, and wind can come through the louvers. If they want to only have the sun sign, then they can open the louvers and let the glass inside close. And the glass itself, as you see, it is consists of three layers of glass, because the lower one is to control the wind, but still in the above wind can flow, so people who sit in the buildings still can have less wind. So it's all comfort control at the time. And then the wood stair, you see the wood stair, by the times the wood is already terkikis. Bu Hasti, what is terkikis, Bu Hasti?
Dilapidated of
Dilapidated, yeah, maybe. We like to keep these stairs like that. All the stairs almost in original condition. Very good. Very good. Talking about the gutter, after we study the gutter, the oldest pictures that we got, the gutter is just like what you call it, a small opening by metals, so the water just flow directly. And then I saw this head gutter. I think this is already the second apa namanya? It's a renewal system. Firstly, they only having like an opening, and then now they have this. And we study to the other buildings, maybe not as old as this building, because this building, as Nadia said, it is one of the oldest buildings in Asia. So we study from other old buildings that they already have the vertical gutters. Then in this conservation works, I'm trying to propose to make these buildings better, try to propose a vertical gutter. That's why we adopted ideas from other buildings for this. Number 3, structure. Structures become very important part in Indonesia right now, because we have the earthquake code is very big. So actually, brick building like this is already cannot pass the code. But I'm didampingi there's two structure engineer who help us to do the structures works, Pak Sugeng and Pak Dadi. What they did is actually doing 3 computer structures modelings. With this kind of modelings, we can see how this brick works through the earthquake in simulation. And then we doing material testing as well. We do a compression test of the brick. We cut some area, brick in some area, and we did the compression test, as well as we did a shear test. And then in conclusion, if we go directly to the code, this building cannot pass the code. So we have to make a strengthen. So what we did with strengthen, we use CFRP, carbon fiber reinforced PI, I can't remember. So what we did is like this. So as the buildings having a very bad plaster on site, and some plasters already changed from the original plaster with lime plaster, changed by cement, and then we decided to open or the plaster, and we will replaster. And to keep this wall breathing, knowing that the brick buildings in that time have to be breathable walls. So what we did is we make the CFRP structures like this cross in the wall area, and then we will plaster with a special plaster, with a breathable plaster and breathable painting as well. And how about the wooden beam? After we study the wooden beam, most of the big beams actually not work as a structure. It's very important. That's why we add steel beam between the wooden beam to reinforce and to replace actually the main wooden beam, because on our calculation, the main wooden beam is not work as a main wooden beam. So this is work as a system. That's why we add some steel profile. Okay, this is the idea. Maybe Nadia already explained that part of the building is slanting a little bit. So what we do is we tear down brick by brick, and then we rebuild with the original brick. Okay, except the conservation work, we have the architectural. Actually, I'm helping by Pak Didi Haryadi as an architect designer. What we did is infill new buildings between the old buildings. So like we explained earlier, that this part is, we can say, is an additional buildings compared is the youngest recent buildings compared to the others. A, C, and E buildings. So we demolish the connection buildings, and we will build a new buildings, which will be contain anything needed to support these old buildings, the A, C, and E buildings. So what we did is we add the elevators, because this building have to be universal design. Everybody have to can go inside, can go to the 3rd floor with very easy. That's why we add elevator. And then because this building will use as a public building, state dining and lounge. We have museums as well as a library. So we have the surface elevator as well. So we insert the surface elevators. And then, like I said before, this building doesn't have any toilet inside. And with new function, we need the toilets. That's why we gave toilets. So toilet in the 2nd floor is, and the 1st floor is insert inside the buildings. And then the toilet at the 3rd floor is we utilize the connection buildings. So connection building will use as a toilets and kitchen and everything that will be used in the connection building. This is the new buildings. We're trying to have still having ideas of horizontal lines of the buildings, and the front, because we have this gate, we're trying to make this building is disappear, is inside, so we not see the new building from outside. And then, well, it is connecting to the old buildings. The new building have to celebrate or give penghormatan kepada what is Bu Hasti penghormatan. So we make
to respect.
Yeah, to respect the old building. That's why the new buildings not really connected. We use kind like structures, cantilever structures, so the old building is not affected to the old buildings. Okay. Okay. I can go to the next slide. So this, you see how we respect to the old buildings. The old buildings still come to the originals. Okay, in interior, I was helped by Ibu Ika and Ibu Anneke, the two architect designers, help to reinventing the ideas of the Maramis Building, the old Maramis Building. This is a staircase, the grand staircases from the first floor to the second floor. And this is what the state dining and state function will looks like from the interior side. And we did the landscape design as well, and I was helped by Pak Bintang Nugroho as a landscape designer. What we want to do is we would like to connect the Maramis buildings with the square in the front, Lapangan Banteng. As maybe Nadia already explained about the statue of Pembebasan Irian Barat. We like to have all this becoming go inside and outside. So this building have a front garden as big as the Lapangan Banteng. This is the what looks now. A lot of trees. We try to not cutting the trees, but we we move all the trees in the front of the buildings and replace with new trees, which giving us a better looks to the building. So we can have a better vista, better opening to the buildings. This is the ideas of demolishing the fences. We replace the fences with the big pond, and this pond is used as well as the flood control, because this area is very bad with flood. So we make a retention pond, something like a retention pond. So it's become water park while it is rainy season. And then we'll have the balcony that people can see the buildings, pictures, buildings. Okay, that's all the conservation progress in 30 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Arya, Abieta, for your presentations, and also Nadia. And thank you very much for these insightful presentations. I think all of us, the participants, are updated now about the state of the initiatives. And Please, for all participants, if you would like to comment or to have questions, please feel free to raise your hand or to write down in the chat room. And meanwhile, we have a comment from Pak Irawan in the chat. Thank you, Pak Irawan. Would you like to mention directly? It would be nicer to you. Please keep short and to the point.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I was actually a bit intrigued by the riddle that was posed by our minister, Sri Mulyani, that guess what can happen there. So I was sort of hoping that it could become partially a palace. That it was intended to actually become a palace for the Governor General, and then suddenly, because of budget and everything, it becomes an office. But I think it would be nice to have some kind of a residential palace, like semi-museum type of things, so people can see the past of Indonesia when it was together with the Dutch. I don't think it is going to create a controversy. Like, look at St. Petersburg. I mean, some of the Russians still hate the Tsar, but the palaces are being kept. So I think I was hoping that, but when I saw Didi's drawing, Arya, there was drawing done by Didi. Yeah? It's actually already showing a semi-museum and state banquet type of thing. So yeah, it's quite close. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Pak Irawan, thank you for your comment. Yes, actually, this is a big discussion about how to utilize these buildings. Of course, this building is now owned by the republics, and of course, we understand that this building is previously is a Daendels palace. So most of the historians said, why don't we just make it like a museum for the Dutch from when the Daendels and up to now? But fortunately, this building is owned by the Ministry of Finance, and still we can have museums down below in the first floor, in the buildings, in the mid buildings, the C buildings. There's a big museum over there. The museum will consist of actually the Minister of Finance museums, but I already can get about 3 or 4 rooms, special museum for the buildings. So we will talk about how the buildings preserve and how the construction works doings. We will keep any temuan of the building findings in the buildings in the museum. So, and then we have the library as well. So library will help a lot of the people to understand about this building, of course, about the Minister of Finance as well. So thank you, Pak Irawan. So I think it's good.
Thank you. But by the way, about the museums and the library, about the history of the Dutch Indies in Indonesia, did you do a survey that is there a need for Indonesians to learn about the past?
No.
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 Yeah.
It's Nadia. Nadia, maybe you can explain about the museum and library.
No, the museum will not about the Dutch Indies, but about the history of the Ministry of Finance in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so you
like I said, no.
Yeah.
So like I said, I can keep about 4 rooms, especially for the conservation. So mostly the process of the conservation of the buildings. So it's become like a school. People can go apa namanya, penelitian more deeply in the
research about the conservation process.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there anyone who would like to comment about or give questions? How otherwise, while waiting for a response for the participants, how difficult to find the research materials during these projects? I saw some usual suspects names of the archives like KITLV and also the institutions where Francine work, the Museum of World Culture. But how difficult to find the archives about this project?
Nadia?
Yeah. At that time, in 2004, 2005, when we did the research and documentation about this building, we get help from the student of the master program in Leiden. She did research about this building. So we collaborate together with her to digging the archive in National Archive in Indonesia, and also some resource material in the Netherlands. So we really lucky at the time that we have her to help us digging the archive. And because at that time there were no, I think not so many, or not any available online material. So we we spent so much time with me here in Andri, and also when she went back to the Netherlands, she also spent many times in the National Archive or the other institution.
Yeah. Well, I see some questions in the chat, but I think being someone who work in both countries, I'm just curious to ask these simple questions to you. Do Indonesians interest to learn about the history of the Ministry of Finance that will take place in this building, or even visit these colonial buildings? How do the Indonesians in general feels about the legacy of the colonial periods? Well, it doesn't need to be a scientific answer, just your personal opinions.
Nadia?
It's okay. We are all here are open-minded participants, so feel free to respond.
For me, because I like the history, and I love the old building. So the history or the colonial buildings is always interest me. So I think it's a subjective answer from my side.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, Mas Arya, would you like
to
comment?
Actually, it's okay. It's no problem at all. Sorry, it's very different. If I want to say between the Dutch and the German, it's very different. We are okay. We are no problem with all of these things. Especially the from my generation to my son generation, is actually no problem at all. But I like to answer what Ibu Tamalia said. Of course, there is a Daendels story about, but Daendels related to the buildings, not Daendels as a Daendels, but Daendels related to the buildings, Ibu Tamalia. Because Ibu Tamalia is already asked in the chat.
Yeah.
That's my opinions. So it's actually no problem at all. And still, old building is interesting to the young generation. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay, especially with all the modern technology, Instagram and everything. So it's very much okay. No problem.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Pak Arya, who addressed the questions directly from Tamalia Alisahbana. I think we are honored to have Tamalia with us now, and since you had a lot of experience also managing colonial building National Archives, one of the jewels in Jakarta, would you mind to share with us directly your thoughts that you have written in the chat, please? Ibu Tamalia, if you don't mind. You don't have to switch on your camera. You also can just switch on your audio if you would like.
Thank you, Hasti.
Yeah.
I'm very honored. Yes, I ran the National Archives Museum for about 13 years. And I think it was very successful because we had thousands of visitors especially school children. And it does not really matter what story you're telling them, as long as you can make the story exciting and interesting. So, for example, we introduced them to the ghost of Governor-General Herman de Klerk. We told them all kind of interesting stories. And we began, I used to begin by asking the children, who does this building belong to? And they used to say, oh, and I'd say, no, this building belongs to you. It belongs to the government of Indonesia, therefore the people of Indonesia. Everybody wear an E? Yes, then it belongs to you, and we are very happy when the owners come to visit. And then we tell them, we make it all into very interesting stories. And if you do that, it doesn't matter what story it is, as long as you can make it interesting and exciting and relate it to them. And we would say, and so we hope that when you get married, you come here and have your wedding in your house. So
Yes.
Make them feel that it belongs to them. And when they talk about the colonial, we would say, yeah, it was built, the Dutch ordered it, but we built it. It was our sweat and we won. We're free. It belongs to us now. It's a beautiful building. Let's enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamalia, for sharing your thought. It's always interesting to exchange insights about this. We have a questions or comments from Musab Abdu. Musab Abdu. Would you like to say directly, Musab Abdu, or maybe I can read it, that the archives for your building, because it is a very important building, is very abundant. But he has found out that for smaller buildings from the colonial periods, it's quite challenging to find archives. What is your comment about this? Or maybe the accessibility of the archives is rather difficult. So what are your comments? By the way, we also have participants from the National Archives today. Thank you very much. I hope that you are still there. From National Archives in Jakarta. So if you would like to comment, please go ahead. But before Nadia and Arya also could comment, please. How to about the accessibility of the archives and the affordability of
Nadia, it's yours, Nadia. It's Musab is always asking this.
Thank you, Musab and Mas Arya. So I think, Musab, if we couldn't find the original architectural drawings that can be used as a reference for the restoration planning or restoration work. So I think besides we did the documentation, measurement and redrawing, I think we should also make identification of the original elements and also original materials, because we found this situation is many times in Indonesia, because there were a lot of old building, a lot of historical building with no original architectural drawing. So that's why we did the documentation, we did the measurement and redrawing, and then from that measured drawing, we can identify which part of the building is still original and which part is the additional new element. So I think that was that we always did when we found this situation, Musab. So I think Mas Arya could add some your experience,
Yes.
Mas Arya.
Yes, Pak Musab, actually the building will talk by itself. Once you go inside and talk to the buildings, and they will say to you, I'm the original, I'm not the originals. we find a lot of things when we do restoration. Sometimes when we open the plaster, we found the old openings. We found interesting part of the buildings. So data is actually important, but not all the buildings, especially building the ordinary building houses, other big buildings, is having or need that kind of. So you just go inside the buildings, talk to the buildings, feel the buildings, and then you will get the ideas of the buildings itself. Please.
It's a very interesting approach, Mas Arya.
Yeah, because we can touch it. We can understand which one is the old, and like I want to say with these buildings, actually the most difficult is about doors and windows, because 200 years wood. So what you expect with outside doors and outside windows? I believe there will be changes, but I believe too that while they change, they still make it. For example, the louvers. The louvers, I believe the first louvers is movable louvers, because what we found out. But after we study more deeper, maybe the oldest is not the movable. Maybe the second generation of the windows is the movable louvers. And now what we found out there is the third generation in fixed louvers again. That can be translated or can be explained while you are inside the buildings and while you see most of the door there and feels okay, this is the old one, but maybe this is not. Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
Like
okay. Before I come to the participant, I would like to share with you that what changed is also not only the building but the external situations. I have been. I worked 3 years in the building of Savoy Homan Hotel in Bandung, and they put glasses around the terrace on the veranda, because now the streets around are polluted and noisy.
Yeah.
So it's not only about the building but also adjustment with the external changing. Yes. Right. Okay. Pak Irawan, I give you the chance to Suhardi Hartono first, because he came earlier than you. And after that, I go to you. Suhardi, would you like to say, please, your questions? It would be nice to keep in touch directly. You don't have to show your, you have your camera. Good. Hi, nice to see you.
How are you,
Hi, my friend, Arya, and Mas Arya and Nadia. Hi, Hasti. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, I have 2 questions, but let's start from the first. I'm curious about a more explanation about how would the landscape architect approach or design the public square, especially that the plaza, which in the picture, Pak Arya showed that it would be linked and would be stretched, extended towards the building itself. And so my question is that since we know that our colleague Yori Antar had just designed or revitalized the Lapangan Banteng, would there be then some changes to the design of the Lapangan Banteng as a public square as a whole? Yeah, that's the first question. Yeah, okay. Then you could answer first.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Suhardi. Of course, we take an honor to what Pak Yori Antar did, but fortunately, what Pak Silaban did with the Monument of Pembebasan Irian Barat is fantastic, because they cut the square with a linear plaza, and Yori Antar just doing the both side of the plaza. So this linear plaza is fantastic for me. That's why we are trying to extend the linear plaza to the after the fences of the Gedung Maramis. So we asked the Maramis, the ministry, can we just open some of the fences and changing with the pond as a pembatas, and then we can make it the plaza go inside, floating in the opening the water there. So actually, there is no changing anymore to the plaza, but we just extending the original plaza to the our bagian dari building, our part of the halaman of the side. Okay, maybe your second question will.
Yeah, could I have a second question, Hasti?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. It will be quite short. It is related to the fact that this Maramis Building is just so close to this public square of Lapangan Banteng. And this is regarding the new life, giving the new life or the new programs to this Maramis Building. I'm wondering if there have been attempts or discussions with the owners or among the consultants how to breathe the new life to this building other than museum, which we know it would be specialized museums, and then the state dining facilities for this building. So I'm wondering if there have been attempts to give more publicly attractive or accessible possibilities to the general public to feel that this building could be more accessible with other public functions rather than or other than museums or the state dining, since we know that this public square or this public space of Lapangan Banteng hopefully would be crowded, would attract people, and then we all believe that from the urban design point of view that this public square should have had very good connections in programs and in space with its surrounding, and this Maramis Building is a good potential for that. I'm just wondering about that. Maybe Pak Arya could enlighten in some points on this regard. Thank you.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this building is owned by the Ministry of Finance, which is have a protocol to go to the buildings. But with the discussion with the minister, we can utilize at least the first floor for public, and then the other part. We still thinking about having a guided tour, so people can still having of course we have to meet with the schedule of the minister. So it is a good question, but then we have to discuss about this and make it a possible guided tour in certain days in a week for people who can go inside the buildings. Maybe that's answered your question.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Arya. Thank you, Hasti.
Yes, thank you very much. Pak Irawan, your turn. Could you please keep it short, please? Yes, we have some questions.
I just have some very technical questions, especially to Arya. It's about the seismic code, because there's a lot of buildings in Indonesia which has not really followed the new seismic code, which is actually changing from the 2012 to 2019. Which is very worrying. Do you think your structural engineer already follow the ISNI 1726020, which is actually from the 2019 version?
Yes, it is very difficult question. Okay, Pak Irawan, we are trying our best. What we use the VRP carbon fibers is actually the way to what do you to make the shear problems better, because the brick, if you go to the code, purely going to the code, then you will go to demolish all the brick buildings, whatever it is, because brick building is cannot consist with the code of our new earthquake. But learning from others countries like New Zealand gave 50% discount for the old buildings, because they're already there for 200 years. So we can play with the code with 50 years. But frankly speaking, up to now, we still have a discussion with the TPKB. I will discuss more detail about this to you, because it's very long.
Let's talk about it. Because,
Yeah,
I'm having similar problem with Sri Heritage Building also.
thank you. Yeah, and before I go to Tamalia, I would like to give opportunity for Pauline to say directly your questions, please. It would be nice. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering, and it's maybe a bit slightly of a tangent, but we are talking about a huge building, and this building is only part of a larger, spatially a larger complex of a ministry. Anticipating the construction of a future capital and considering all ministries are going to move to the new capital, this means that this is not going to be the only building that's probably going to be vacant. So I'm curious what's going to happen to the rest of the complex. But then you think wider and you think, but there's more ministries in colonial buildings or heritage buildings. So what's going to happen if all these ministries are going to be, buildings are going to be empty? Does that mean they're all up for restoration projects? And if that's the case, how are we going to utilize all these future empty heritage buildings? Surely, and this ties in with Suhardi's question, you can't turn them all into museums, even if only in part they become museums. So yeah, maybe it's too big a question for you, but it does come from this project, because you've been working on this project so long. So not only does it take a long time, but it's expensive, and it ties in with how the city is going to work. It ties in with infrastructure. Do you have any ideas about this? Do you think this could be a pilot project, or does it lead a way, or is this a telltale of what's going to happen?
Okay, frankly speaking, Pauline, I thought inside Ibu Minister having the idea how to do with this building.
No, but I'm asking you as an architect from your
okay.
course,
Okay.
you know what?
Okay. Yeah. What I want to thinking is I like it will be open for private to buy or to lease the buildings and utilized by private. That will be more and more utilized and more good for the city as well. I don't have any evidence from others parts. I don't know what happened in Australia when they moved the Ibu Kota, the capital. I don't know, but yeah. But what I think is there will be a chance for private to taking over the buildings, and I don't know. Maybe we need some uang untuk to build our new Ibu Kota as well. I don't know.
Kamalia knows something.
I hope, and maybe Irawan knows something as well. He quite close with the Papanas.
Yeah, Tamalia.
Please read my chat.
Tamalia, tell us what you heard.
No, I only heard what Arya said, that they're considering selling buildings. Now, I think good, because one of the big reasons for Jakarta sinking is not because the sea is rising, but because we are pumping the water out of the atmosphere. And one of the biggest pumpers of water are the ministries who have these very, very high buildings. So if that happens, the new owners should not be allowed to do that. They should be made to buy water from the city and not be allowed to do that.
Okay, thank you, Tamalia.
That's a good idea.
Government, we want to do that.
Thank you. But Nadia, you also have opinion about the questions of Pauline, please.
Yeah. About the.
You said that you also concerned about it.
Yeah, because when I think last year or 2 years ago, when the an issue of the moving the capital, we asked to our Ministry of Finance colleagues what will happen, and then they said just kind of diplomatic that not suddenly all the
employee
staffs,
moves to the
all the staffs will be moved, but it will be step by step. And then they said that they will still try to use that building for their office, because they still believe that not all of the activities of the Ministry of Finance will be moved to the capital city. But for my point of view, or my dream, that this huge complex with the two heritage building in front of the complex could be used as a more creative space, and also a commercial space, because I don't want to have a very big museum there, because in Indonesia museum is not that you can get money if you have the museums. So in my opinion, I will use this complex for commercial and creative use.
Yes.
Yeah, and also, Pauline, on your chat, you asked about is the current White House restoration precursor of future restoration project in Jakarta, perhaps. But I think this restoration is. But because we in Indonesia, in Jakarta, especially that we already did the restoration project in the last decade, there are more and more heritage building being restored, and then being reused for the new function. And also, we just finished the restoration of the Sarinah department store building. It was officially open on last Monday, and it is also a huge restoration project that's already finished this week.
Congratulations. Yes,
about the Sarinah, I want to add something.
Oh, yeah.
Sarinah has become very important and very nice example, because frankly, Sarinah is not yet detected by dinyatakan sebagai heritage buildings. It's not yet designated by heritage, but the owners willing to keep the Sarinah as it is, and that's why they make it just like a heritage buildings conservation.
So awareness is getting better about heritage conservation.
I hope.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, Mas Arya, comparing to the when we start.
When we
start PDA.
Yes, 3 decades ago. Pauline, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add. I understand my question in the chat was a bit too vague. I wasn't suggesting that this is the first restoration project in Jakarta. I was trying to find out if you think, if more ministries are going to be empty, if the approach applied now to this White House would be an example for other ministries to follow up on, and considering, the fact they need money. So I was more wondering if, but Arya sort of already answered the question that he thinks commercial functions maybe should be an option for future buildings. Then a follow-up question would be, does the Monument Act allow enough space for fundamental changes, and what kind of functions would you envision? Would you, for example, could you see a shopping mall in the White House? Just how strict is the Monument Act, and would it allow you to do this? So that's it with my precursor. How wild actually and how open can you be about what's going to happen with all these empty buildings? That's all.
or maybe a residence.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't understand why Indonesia never transform historical buildings into residence in the strategic locations. It would be very, very beneficial, profitable.
Yeah.
But by the way, go ahead, the speakers, if you would like to comment. Would you like to comment?
Nadia, will you please? Actually, I just get a bad connection, so I can hear all the Pauline's question.
Yeah, Mbak Hasti, because here I don't know because it's not very common to transform the heritage building to become a residence or a flat or apartment. I don't know because maybe that here the people are not used to do that, and also because myself also didn't want to live in a heritage building in here in Indonesia, because it's in my opinion it's very humid and is
it's not about humidity.
yes. So I mean it's not very practical for me to live in a heritage building.
Tamalia has a lot of spiritual friends, invisible friends in the National Archive. But anyway, this spooky thing is very interesting. But before I come back to all participants to ask questions, we have Remco Vermeulen with us. It is very honored to have you. And for those who do not know him, he's an Indonesian desk coordinator by Dutch Culture, who involved a lot in shared heritage with the Netherlands, Remco. And also his research about the Dutch colonial heritage use in Indonesia. Am I right, Remco? Would you like to comment or to correct my introductions about you?
No, I don't have to correct you. Thank you for introducing me, Hasti. Hello, Pa Arya. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Remco.
Thank you. Very, very interesting presentation. Also to you, Bu Nadia. Actually, Hasti, you just posed an interesting question, but I'm not sure we really got into it yet. It's the general question, not per se about whether Indonesians are interested to know the history of this particular building, but it's more like a general question: to what extent are Indonesians, and particularly young Indonesians, interested in history at all? Maybe that's a question that I would like to throw in here and see what you, the audience or the speakers think of it.
Probably, please, some of the audience response to these questions. Not that Pa Arya or Nadia are not young anymore, but I would like to hear more voices of this forum. We have 54 participants, and I'm sure some of you could respond to Remco, please. No young people.
A lot of young people. I think Musab can explain. Musab, you can.
Musab is also still young.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Musab,
because we have
to this. Are you interested in history?
No, we truly here. We have Elisa Kusuma Dewanti. We have Febe here. We have Umu here. We have
there's a lot of young people here coming. Please, Remco, I thank you for your question. I like to hear as well the answer. Ibu Phoebe, Ibu Umu, any ideas?
Umu, I know Umu. Umu is very responsive. Please, you don't have to show. You don't have to turn on your camera. I understand that it is evening in Indonesia. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I cannot open my camera because I'm in home right now. But
no problem.
To respond to Remco's question, I think as a millennial, I come from millennial generation. I think it all comes down to our interest in reading. In general, we tend to have a very short attention, but then I see the movement in social media. So a lot of educational accounts now change their methods to a more concise, a big chunk of information, so that it's more interesting to the new generation. I think that's it for me. So it's the awareness is rising, whether it's historical or other kind of discipline and knowledge. Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to extend Remco's questions. What
Yeah.
do you think about colonial heritage in Indonesia?
Can you please elaborate the generational opinion about
Yes.
heritage colonial?
The older generations, right after independence, let's say, they had a certain emotions about colonial heritage, right? And that's why in the 50s until 80s, there were a lot of demolitions of the legacy of the past from the colonial past.
True.
But the younger generations who are born after independence might have different thought or emotions about colonial buildings, for example, like this Maramis Building. What do you feel about it? Do you still feel sentiment about colonialism or the Dutch or whatever?
I cannot really generalize the opinions, but from my perspective, because the young generation couldn't really relate emotionally, especially to the hurt past experience of the older generation. But also there is some exception, especially to young people who have their ancestor that was repressed in that era. It can lead to what it calls now as intergenerational trauma, that they also in some special cases, I can see some people are a bit more anti-colonialism or hate the colonial product of cultural product of that period. But in general, I think the Indonesian people, Indonesian young generation are not really don't really have emotional emotional opinion to that. Yeah, emotional problem to that. And I can see though the trend now. The trend now is more and more adaptive reuse is happening, especially in the Kebayoran Baru, the post independence kind of buildings. I think I'm sorry if I'm not.
I understand.
From the M Block, and then there's now a new restaurant there that is adapted by hip restaurants, so that it's more and more popular now. And I think young people love having their activities in this, because it's more aesthetic in terms of media social, it's more interesting to see in their picture or in their content.
Or
yeah.
Instagrammable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Umu, for being so brave to share your thought with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
we really we do understand what you mean. And Remco, before I go to other participants, you have some quick note in the chat. Please go ahead, say it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I just shared a link, a YouTube link. So I'm sorry for plugging another event in your event,
No
problem.
I mean,
Thank you.
I'm sure that your event is related to our
yeah,
presentation
it
today.
was.
But
That's
please,
why I
explain a little bit.
Okay, so last week, ICOMOS Netherlands hosted a lectures evening titled "The Reflections on the Use of Dutch Colonial Heritage in Indonesia," and we had 3 Indonesian speakers, Angelina Basuki of the Consortium Kota Tua, let's see, Ajeng Ayu Arainikasi, who is a PhD student here in Leiden, but also a lecturer at UI, and she's looking at the decolonization of Indonesian museums. And we had Feba Sukmana, and she's a journalist who works at the Erasmus magazine, which is the magazine of the Erasmus University in Rotterdam. And they all had their reflection on this topic from their own perspective. I thought it was a very interesting session. So, and I re-recorded it and put the recording on YouTube, so you can all watch it if you're interested.
Yes, and the link is in the chat. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Umu.
For Arya and Nadia, I would move on to other questions. Okay.
Siap.
Yeah. And Tamalia, if you don't mind, I give the opportunity to other participants. I saw some of your comments in the chat we can read, and probably now I give the opportunity to the participants who never asked before. Anissa, would you like to say your questions, or shall I read it? Anissa Fajoyani.
Yeah, sorry, I cannot turn on my camera.
No problem,
Yeah.
no problem. Just say it, yeah.
No, it's just my general comment about the interests of the youth in Indonesia. Yeah, I learned architecture in Indonesia too, and I believe that it's not a very popular subject among architecture students in general. Yeah, because I think I agree with what Umu has said before, that it seems very distant to us, because like not a lot of us got the opportunity to experience, to live or to do the activities in those buildings, and also we don't get to see a lot of good examples on the conservation itself. So yeah, I also agree with the rise of adaptive reuse to more it might seems to be only in the surface, but I think it's a good start to spark interest among the youths to look more in these possibilities of to use these resources that we have in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the fact that all of you followed this webinar is also very heartwarming. It's very positive
I
how
agree
you
with.
interest because this evening you can also watch Netflix instead of listening to us, but you have chosen to be here. So thank you.
Yeah. I agree with.
Amka, please go ahead.
Yes, Miss. Thank you. I want to give my opinion about Indonesia historical.
Are you a student or something? Introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm a student.
Yeah.
I just want to give my opinion about this historical in Indonesia.
Okay.
From my experience, when I at school, Indonesia historical described in board. I mean that our teacher tell us the historical in the wrong way. Like we cannot imagine and feel the past. like that. And when
Okay,
we
okay, I
and when
understand.
we and when we come to the museum itself, it's like a spooky. And then after that, if they don't have any positive visitor, the museum will left behind and being
Okay.
closed. That means if you tell us about most of the Indonesia interested about historical itself, I don't think so, because you may have learned when you at senior high school, junior high school, or elementary school, it's so bored.
Yes, yes.
So we only search by ourselves.
Very good.
So I mean that
Okay.
the historical like museum or another place must be maintained in the good way, and we should introduce or make interest. Then we use some social media or another thing, because when I at elementary school, I don't my school doesn't give chance to see the museum itself.
Yes, thank you, Anka. I think all Indonesians understand what you meant. That historical subjects at schools is delivered in a boring way. All the years we have to memorize the names and the years. Everybody know Daendels when he was born, but that's it. The museums more with the heritage societies, with the PDA, then you will find history is very interesting. So join the webinars the coming months. And if I don't know where you live, but if you live in Jakarta, go to heritage societies programs, a lot of activities. By the way,
at least she is what now?
Yes,
she is now. It's good.
Yeah. Become a volunteer. Pak Irawan, you have a comment. Please go ahead, Pak Irawan Sewandono. Probably introduce yourself a little bit, very short. It would be nice
Pak
for the
Irawan,
participants to
still
know who you are, Pak Irawan.
Please unmute, Pak Irawan.
Pak Irawan Sewandono, yeah, please go ahead. Would you like to comment on something?
Pak Irawan, I'm not hear any voice.
No, we cannot hear you.
Oh, you have problem with your microphone.
Yes.
Yeah, but Mbak Hasti, we have Elisa raise hand.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it because the color of your background is yellow and the hand is yellow. By the way, Elisa, go ahead while we are waiting Pak Irawan. Go ahead. Thank you, Nadia.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Elisa. I currently working in Minister of Education and Culture. Yeah, so I've met Nadia before, and thank you for the good presentation from Nadia and Arya. I haven't met Arya before, but my friend did. I would like to say about the insight about what younger people see about the history nowadays. I think what Anka said is true. We accept what history means to us is a bit boring and it's too complicated to understand. But in the same time, nowadays we can see that young people have gained more interest in coming to museum by because there's a lot of event. There's as mentioned before, there's adaptive reuse, like we have this in M block and post block, and it definitely raised the awareness of the young people to understand to know their heritage is the way of us to learn our own heritage. And yeah, I agree that architecture has a palpable impact to preserve and observe on heritage in the future. But sadly, when I studied back in the university or when I was in the school, architecture heritage not a big concern. It's not the focus on the. It's not have a big portion of education. So after we finish our education, sometimes we just have no idea what kind of what is this building means to us, what kind of heritage that we have in terms of the building, the story and the background of our own city. Unless we come to and we taken part of this kind of course and Zoom meeting, we need to search by our own self. But yeah, I think that's all for me.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
I think it's very useful, but don't be discouraged with the formal institutions who do not who are not perfect. We have a lot of solutions, and Indonesians are very creative to provide a lot of things in informal ways. So informal education is as important as formal education, I think. Pak Irawan, do you have a voice now, or do you? No, I don't.
Not yet, Pak Irawan.
Yeah, it's okay. It can happen. Yes. Yes. Okay. We read in the chat your books suggestions about book. Tamalias, would you like to share your comment in the chat? It's especially because it's interesting about the Patung Irian Barat.
Okay, we extend
the
the
Dutch
discussion.
audience is also interesting.
Well, I have one page in the newspaper every week, the Independent Observer, where I write, and usually my topics are heritage. And I've done 3 different articles on statues and pulling down statues all over the world. And I interviewed quite some of the Papuans, and they say they're very unhappy with that Pembebasan Irian statue, and they would like a different statue. So I'm just throwing this in to be a bit gile, to tease everybody a bit. So shall we? Maybe we should consider what the Papuans want. After all, it's Pembebasan Irian.
Why are they not happy? Do you know?
Kind of statue, and maybe this one we can just put in a museum.
Do you know why are they not happy?
Yeah, I think they feel that they were not dibebaskan. But if you want to know more, you should read my article.
Okay.
Yes. Please send.
Share your article.
Send the link in the chat, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I'll be talking.
Actually, it's not about the statue physically, but about the story behind the statue, about the freedom for the Papuans. I think that's another webinar topic. Yes. And for all participants, Irawan Sewandono has suggested some books. Probably you can Google them, but I'm sure that all architect students know about this. And the Library of PDA in Tebet Raya. Tebet Dalam. Tebet Dalam has also a very impressive collections of architecture, also from the colonial past. So please go ahead there. And for all of you who would like to download the PowerPoint presentations of 2 speakers today, Wiwi Chiok has kindly forwarded the address of Google Class in the chat. So please go ahead. And I would like to, Wiwi, do you have an announcement for webinar for next month? Do you have a slides or no? No.
Yes.
Otherwise, I will. Okay. Please share this.
I
By the
hope
way,
I can share.
yes.
Let me see. Can you see it?
Yes,
Yes.
but you can make it big.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, okay. So this is the webinar for April. We have two speakers from the Arsip Nasional Republik Indonesia. Working in heritage, we hear a lot about archives, accessibility, how challenging it could be, but so we would like to hear what are the experience of the people who are responsible to manage the archive. So it's interesting to exchange thoughts about this input at the 20th of April. Thank you very much. Suhardi, you want to say something?
Yeah, Hasti, just I would like to make some remarks as a reflection to what our younger friends commented just now about how we were quite far. So with our history, I think it has to do with our conservation efforts in Indonesia. I think over the more than 2 decades, I think through PDA and other institutions like Sumatra Heritage Trust and all Bandung Heritage Society, I think we've been able to raise awareness and build capacity in the technical achievement in conservation. But what we are lacking is our capacity in heritage management, meaning that how we could also actually create a market for these conservationists, these experts like Pak Arya, Nadia, and all the rest of us, who most of them are here, so as to see how the heritage buildings could be given a new life and could be more creative. And I reflect on my recently finished course organized by UNESCO called Sustainable Heritage Management, in which we as participants, we are guided, we are enlightened, we are trained to think how heritage goals could go hand in hand with the business goals. Because unless you have business goals, then there would be less and less conservation projects. And if there would be conservation projects, then mostly it would be from government, and then the story would be the same. It would be for museum or state dining or all for elitist purposes. So I think it's time for us to build our capacity in this heritage management and to see heritage conservation beyond only achieving conservation techniques, which I believe that we have quite good in this part. But what we are lacking again is our capacity to manage the change, as you know, utilize conservation as a management of change. And we just realized that heritage conservation is absolutely going to be hand in hand with the business goals. But of course, then how to make it balanced, how not to compromise the heritage values for achieving business goals or the business values. So I think that's a challenge for us in Indonesia, and those countries which have achieved such progress in this field could be like Netherlands, could be like Malaysia and Singapore, and these are something we have to think about. Thank you, Hassan.
Nadia.
Yes, I just want to respond, Suhardi, that I think this is also announcement that now we are preparing the course on the heritage management. So it's actually it's a collaboration between the Trisakti University, PDA, and BPPI. So Suhardi, don't worry. This course will coming soon to you, and we will launch soon, and you can enroll the course.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, but also before I close the webinar, the interesting point that I want to underline is from Pauline, that actually the conservation initiatives in Indonesia now are still ad hoc and individual initiatives, and do not integrate into the long-term integrated plan. For example, like the conservation of this Maramis building, while actually the the long-term planning is to move the capital to the Kalimantan. But maybe as outsiders, we follow from the news and we see more and differently from those who live in Indonesia itself, because you know more than us about what's really happened there going on. And of course, all of you have done your best to do this. Well, Nadia and Arya has mentioned before that compared to 3 decades ago, heritage movement in Indonesia is much better and the awareness is also much higher. So very positive notes to close this webinar. So Hardy, do you still have your hand raised, or you forgot to switch it down?
I just forgot to switch it down.
Oh, thank you very much. And let me share the screen. Thank you very much. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Nadia. This is the certificates for you.
Thank you.
For the tangible appreciations token coming when I'm in Indonesia.
Thank you.
So for now is the A certificate for Nadia. And
thank you.
Do you see the certificates for Arya Abieta?
Okay, I think you will bring for me directly next Agustus, isn't it?
Hopefully. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mahasti. Thank you, Mbak Wiwi.
Okay.
Thank you very much for all of you. Wiwi, do you have, as an organizer, do you have announcement?
No, I just want to thank everyone for attending, and I enjoyed the presentations of Nadia and Arya, and I'm very pleased to see the design of the landscape.
Saula, thank you very much to stay with us until finish. Ibu Saula is from the Netherlands Embassy in Jakarta. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much to PDA, Nadia Purwestri and Arya Abieta IAI. And also to all participants who are with us tonight. Hopefully that this small effort to raise awareness and to build communication between Indonesia and Netherlands will be fruitful. Thank you very much and see you next month.
Okay, thank you.